Namaste, I'm Dr. Robert, and today on 5-ish Minutes with Dr. Robert, my subject is positive positivity, which I understand sounds tautological, but the fact is that there is a certain pattern that can be determined, identified in society nowadays, where people are encouraged to be relentlessly positive, to turn away from the negative, to try to avoid anything that is not somehow optimistic and looking on the brightest side of life. It is, in my opinion, always good to be positive, but it is always also, in my opinion, good to be positive in a realistic kind of way, not in a toxic kind of way. And what makes positivity toxic is where even when you were feeling bad about something, and this is something that you need to be able to digest within yourself, that you say to yourself, oh, I must not feel bad. I must always have a positive outlook and an optimistic frame for my perspective on life, which is not realistic. And the further you go away from reality, the more likely it is that reality is going to come back and live with you, and very likely that will be something that will be even more difficult to digest than if you had simply digested the things that you were having trouble digesting when you tried to paper them over with your positivity. Instead, I rather like the attitude of Viktor Frankel. If you have not read his book, Man's Search for Meaning, please do. He talks sometimes about a concept called tragic optimism. And he's a man who would have known about this. He was in 3 or perhaps 4 different concentration camps during World War II. Fortunately, he survived. And he understood that it was important not to pretend that everything around that was happening was not happening, but to be relentlessly aware both of what was going on and of the fact that one needed to be determined to move forward and to have the intention to survive in order to survive. He found that people who had something to live for were the ones who survived, and the others, no matter how healthy or enthusiastic they were, if they really didn't have something to focus on, they didn't make it. So it's very important for all of us to know as much as we can about our own personal Svoboda, our own personal path through life, and to always be trying to follow that path, and to always understand that following that path is what really creates positivity in our existence. And there will be plenty of times in your life when you will be obstructed from following that path, or when your imagination or your vision of what that path is will have to change. But as long as you continue trying to find your alignment with that path, and the more aligned with you are with your own dharma, the more you will feel the prana in your body aligning itself within you. And that's when you can feel positive. No matter what's happening outside, the more that your prana is well aligned with that sense of where you are headed, the greater, the truer that positivity is in yourself. And so then, even if you are in a concentration camp, if you are aligned with that purpose, if you're aligned with that reason for existing, then you will be able to continue moving through that negativity, not trying to suppress it, not trying to pretend it doesn't exist, not trying to fight against it, but simply digesting it, relentlessly keep continuing to move forward in the direction that you know that you need to go. This is Dr. Robert requesting everyone to be meaningfully positive.